Thank you for clicking this video. The questions we'll be answering today were submitted to us by our audience, and in no way, shape, or form should that diminish each of their individual importance, and we believe these subjects do deserve discussion. So as it would happen, we are covering these topics together, and as you will hear, for our family, the topics do naturally lend themselves to one another in some way. So bear that in mind today, please, as you watch this video. This is a natural conversation occurring. It is not a clipped together set of questions, but rather an honest conversation leading from one topic to the next, and you will see for yourself how that naturally happens. Thank you for your grace and patience as we discuss these issues head on, acknowledging that we do not have all the answers, and hoping that this will only be the beginning of a healthy dialogue between us and you, our audience. Hey Zoo family, welcome to today's video. We're going to do a quick Q&A. Well, I don't know how quick it's going to be.
Right?
We have so many questions. We put out a story on Instagram. By the way, follow us on Instagram, links in the description. And you all responded so much, so many questions we got.
This would take 5 videos.
It would take a long time, but we kind of boiled it down to try to sense what the topics were.
Yep.
We can kind of tell you all want us to answer on, and we have a bunch of questions we want to get to today, as you can tell from the title. A couple of preliminaries, though. This is not a reaction video.
Right.
We're not reacting to anything that we're seeing happen. We are going to try to provide some biblical wisdom because we think that's an area we can maybe speak into a little bit. Yep. We do not have all the answers.
No. We won't even pretend to have any of the answers.
Not even close. But we know we serve a God who does.
Yep.
And if we all seek him in humility and keep the lines of communication open, we think we can kind of work to create a better world together, a better society to live in that's safer for our children. So, and your children, obviously, not just ours. All children. So that's one thing, preliminary. And number 2, we are not taking sides in anything. No. We're not looking to do that. We're not even those type of people anyway. No. We try to listen to all people and understand the human condition. So even if we...
And the underlined...
What's really being said when people are angry.
Not the emotions or not the reaction to it.
Right. Which brings us to our third preliminary thing we want to say. We didn't leap to make this video and respond to a lot of these topics because we didn't want to do that. We wanted to be slow to speak, quick to listen, slow to anger. Yep. We try to live by that in our household. That is good biblical wisdom to listen more than you speak. And even now we're speaking because we believe we have this platform to try and create discussions and foster community, foster acceptance, and transfer knowledge, share knowledge, and get some knowledge while we're at it, because we do not have all the answers, but we can tell you where we're coming from and how we think and how we've been living these days out. Question number 1, can we see more Daisy?
So well, here you go. Okay, and disclaimer, please don't comment that her pants don't match her shirt. We know that. It's laundry day tomorrow, and this is what we have left. So I know it doesn't match, but that's real life for you.
This is, we are not a glam and fashion channel.
No.
We do not run glam and fashion Instagram accounts.
Although she has bows and stuff and dresses.
Yeah, she sure is cute.
It's just night time for her, so.
It's night time, and that's the last pair of pants and the last shirt that was available before laundry day. So there you go. Question number 1. Can we see more Daisy? Of course you can. Question number 2. You all wanted to hear the kids answer some questions, so we're going to start off there nice and lighthearted.
Yep.
And the question was, who's your favorite superhero? Kids! Okay, number 1, Katie's gonna go. Who is your favorite superhero?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
I expected Spider-Man, actually. Okay, why Wonder Woman? This changed recently.
Yeah.
Why Wonder Woman?
Because she has, medals on her shoulders, and she has,
armor.
Mm-hmm.
Armor, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, girl power. Wonder Woman.
Nice.
Okay, now Timmy's gonna go. Timmy, who's your favorite superhero?
Superman.
Superman! Why
that
Superman?
One changed, too!
They all changed.
He's strong and tough.
Because he's strong and stuff.
Oh, I would have said Superman because he flies.
I thought you were going to say because he flies. Yeah, but okay, Superman.
Very
Superman.
cool.
High five for Superman. And that he flies?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, because he flies too.
Okay, there you go.
Next. Okay, now we have Logie Bear. Favorite superhero?
Spider-Man.
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 Does something that Spider
I don't even think I'm in the
Mommy and
grade.
Daddy really... Mommy and Daddy really wrecked that. Okay, high five for spiders. Spiders.
Ooh, no.
No high fives for spiders?
Spiders, no.
Okay, for Spider-Man.
Okay, that's fine.
Why spiders?
Well, because he has the webs and...
That's the noise, Mom.
Is that how it goes? Yeah. Okay. I know nothing.
Okay. Spider-Man. High five for Spider-Man. Okie dokie. Caleb, favorite superhero?
Mine is the bad guy in the last movie with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Thanos?
Yeah, Thanos.
What?
Oh. Why Thanos right now?
Because he has, like, I wouldn't say unlimited power, but he has so much power, I guess.
Yeah, but the Avengers were able... Did you see Endgame?
No.
Okay,
no.
I won't.
No.
I won't spoil it. I won't ruin Thanos' ending for you. Okay, go. Yeah, high five for Thanos. No, we have to snap for Thanos.
What? What's a snap?
You don't even know what the snap is?
I don't remember it.
Okay, thank you for being honest and for having the courage to say your favorite superhero is maybe the most villainous villain of all time. Great job,
funny.
Caleb.
So we hope you appreciated this lighthearted intro to this video.
Yeah, because it's about to get real. We don't want to pull punches, and we let you ask questions.
Are you sweating? I'm kind of sweaty.
I'm sweating a little bit. I'm a little bit. But remember, this is a discussion. We're not here to tell people how to think.
Or impose our views.
But we know that in our position, it wouldn't be right to be completely silent.
Let's preface again, we are not reacting to this next topic.
Yeah.
So know that, and as an adopted parents, our heart breaks for this next topic. So know that we're coming out of a place where
we do not judge.
Right.
We love. We empathize. We try to understand. And the reality is we can't do those things fully because we don't have all the information. Just like anyone else who's putting out a video about this right now, none of us have all the information. And it's terribly judgmental to say a word without having all the information.
Right.
So therefore, all we can do on this topic is pray and
make sure our focus is in the right area.
Yeah, that we're focusing our hearts toward the right thing so that we're not living with anger or pent-up aggression on the subject, even if it is emotionally charged. And we don't understand it either. But we received a lot of questions about the Stauffer family. And we have watched their content here and there. And there have probably been times where we watched more than other times. Just we couldn't stick with it. When you're trying to develop your own content,
it's really hard.
It's a struggle to keep up with other people's content as well. We know that the term going around rehoming is a really charged word. Some people hate the term. Some people think it's a normalized term.
Yeah.
So we'll just not use it for the remainder of this discussion. But we were basically asked a number of questions, and it's a myriad of questions, and it shows us that a lot of people are hurting, a lot of people are angry, that many of you watch them, love them, or loved them, and maybe you feel differently now than you did before.
At least felt connected
or
to
you
their
felt
story.
connected, and now you feel jaded or bewildered by what's going on, and those are completely valid emotions when you get attached to a story, and then something like that happens. It's tough. I can only imagine if something terribly tragic like us losing Chloe. I know a lot of you felt that in your heart, like that wasn't fake.
Right.
You really felt
the grief,
and many of you walked through it with us. Some of you didn't. Some of you felt bad for us, but acknowledged, but watched it like a story. But then some of you just did empathize. You felt, because everyone feels things differently. Everyone processes things differently.
Yeah.
I think one of the questions we didn't get this question explicitly, but there seems to be this outline question: how could a parent give up their child? How could a parent blank? And maybe that question doesn't even do justice to what everyone wants to ask, but there seems to be this general sense of concern and for some people outrage
and just judgment all around.
And judgment too from some people, and the central question is, how could, and I'll just leave it at those two words, how could, and you may be able to fill in that blank, especially if you're angry about this situation. And how could is a tough question because we, as adoptive parents, by the way, we have not adopted a child
with special needs.
With those special needs. Right. We have adopted an older child, obviously. And I heard another channel say every child has special needs. Biological children have special needs. Everyone has unique needs. Right. When we say special needs, it's almost becoming stigmatic.
Yes.
It's almost becoming a really bad thing to say. It's becoming something people are using for the wrong reasons, right. It seems. So every child has unique needs. So even though we didn't adopt a child who's in the category of special needs, we had a child who was not able to speak English, right. Who had her past, her story, her hurts, her insecurities, and more than we've ever shared, more than we ever will share in this channel, because it's private to her. But people are dealing with that question. How could? And, I'd be lying if I, at some point,
my how could look different than most.
But we've had our how coulds.
Right.
How could
with our own children.
With our children.
With Chloe and Daisy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How could God take Chloe? And then with Katie, how could her birth parents? We've had our how coulds thinking about her past, and the reality is we can't get answers to any of those. We will never get answers to those. So the longer we enmesh ourselves with obsessing over how could, the unhappier we become.
Yes.
And we can't get an answer.
Right.
So we have to stop asking how could, because it's an unanswerable question. And wisdom tells me we have to start to ask the right question, because as an adoptive father who loves my daughter, and at some points in the past I have in my moments thought, how could anyone have given Cadence up? How could anyone? I look at her face and I say, how could anyone? But then I get convicted, because that's self-righteous talk. That's self-righteous of me to think I know what the birth mother and father felt. They may be somewhere right now, completely brokenhearted,
right?
That they will never see their daughter again, and they may not have been able to eat. They may have had to give her up because they couldn't feed her, and they were starving themselves. Mm-hmm. She may have had an underaged mother. Mm-hmm. I know that in America, very often, underage girls who get pregnant and choose not to terminate the pregnancy and courageously choose to have that child and put the child up for adoption to give them a chance at life, they're doing something that they're sacrificing, because they're going to live with a sense of loss for the rest of their life.
Yep.
And they're willing to assume that heartbreaking sense of loss so that the child can have a chance at life.
Right.
So every time I ask how come, I think, man, who do I think I am? God? I don't have the vision that God does. Only God can answer those questions. All I can do is love my neighbor, grieve with people who are grieving, and do my best in my heart of hearts to withhold judgment, knowing that only God has a right to, because he sees the true answers, and he's the only one who can see hearts and know and test people and know people and know their motives. It's something best left to him. So for the Stauffers, we grieve.
It's a loss. It's a loss of a child. It's a loss of a child that they loved.
We do believe that's the thing. That is a stance we'll take. What's one place where we will take a stance. We do believe they loved Huxley and love Huxley, and that they always will love Huxley. We are making the decision to choose to believe them. Other people can disagree with that. That's okay. We're all entitled to our opinions. It doesn't mean we have to hate each other because you think they hate Huxley and we think they love Huxley. But I know this. I believe they are brokenhearted right now, and I believe their children are brokenhearted. Yeah. And I don't think they would hurt their biological children. I can't bring myself to believe that, from what I can see of them, and I don't know them, but I can't imagine they would put their family through such grief right now if they didn't truly believe that it was best for Huxley.
Right.
Because I see, even though they welcomed Huxley into their family, and they did it with a blind love, they did. And that's what all adoptive
is what all adoptive parents do.
It's what we all do.
Absolutely.
When we saw Katie's picture, we planned on adopting an infant.
Right.
And we looked at this little 6-year-old girl, and one of us, I don't remember who said it, but one of us said, is there a reason we should say no to this?
Right.
She needs a family as much as an infant would. Okay, we're doing this. I guess we're adopting an older kid.
Right.
Like, we made the decision that quick.
Yeah.
And from that moment forward, we loved her with a blind love.
Yeah.
No one could have convinced us not to adopt her. And when it comes to matters of medical reports, I can almost say it wouldn't have mattered what we found on that medical report.
Yeah.
We would have probably made the same decision that the Stauffers did and said, she needs a family. We're willing to do our best to love her and care for her, care for her and commit to the best of what we think we can.
Absolutely.
Care for her and take care of every need she may ever have. For good or for worse, that kind of blind love, it's well-intentioned and...
It's almost what's required.
It's almost what's required.
It is. It knowing we're almost 3 years into this process and blind love is required. And blind love's really required for any parent, really.
And blind love is required of the child, too.
Yeah.
Because that child's being adopted by imperfect parents who... Can I just be honest with you all? When I hear the word rehoming, I look at the father I've been for Katie, and I've not been a perfect father. Sometimes I wonder if I needed to be rehomed. If this family needed a better dad, if she needed a better daddy. But I trust in God's sovereignty and that I'm meant to be her father. When a child gets adopted into a family, that child has to have a certain type of blind love as well, because those parents aren't perfect. The siblings aren't perfect.
Right.
You know, some adoption stories, the siblings, the adopted child and the biological children really butt heads and never accept each other. I mean, it takes blind love, and blind may be the wrong word, naive love may be the right word, or love that just always chooses to see the best, believe the best. It takes that kind of love. And that's not something I can fault them for having.
Right.
Even if things didn't work out, it's more than unfortunate. Unfortunate doesn't do the situation justice, but I can't condemn people for having that kind of love.
Right.
Because that type of brazen, want to love you to the moon and back type of love is too rare in our world.
Right.
And if we could all try to have that love and hone it as a skill, the world would ultimately be a better place. And to do that cross-cultural is even something literally unheard of. That is, you know what I mean? And that brings us, that's going to almost segue us. Way to go, babe. You really segued that subject.
Well, I didn't mean to.
That's going to segue us off of the Stauffer topic and into our next topic. But cross-culturally, we have witnessed on our channel in the comment section lots and lots of difficulty with people loving one another, and certainly difficulty loving one another across cultural lines. And I should probably disclaim this and say a lot, but still a fraction compared to how much positivity there is. Like 99.9% positive. But we do hear the racial tension. We do hear the prejudice that is in our comment section. And that brings us to some of our questions. One of them being, have you ever received racially charged comments in your comment section regarding the fact that you're a multicultural family? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We've read some of the most disgusting things we've heard. Things that were so evil, like I didn't know people thought that way. And
sad.
A lot of them just, show the hurt that is in our world, the brokenness that is in our world. And when we read those things, we do our best not to take it personally, because if we took it personally, those comments would just essentially boil down to cheap shots. Sure. Because anyone can say anything when the person on the other end
can't respond,
can't sock you in the face for saying something about his daughter. Come to my front porch, and maybe things will be different, because I don't like people talking about my family
or our motives,
and
this is where like we'll go to bat for the Stauffers, because any adopted parent again
puts up with it.
Yeah, puts up with it.
Well, any adoptive parent does, number one, because even if you're not on YouTube, you're used to going and sitting in restaurants and having people say, "She's your daughter?" Like shocked, and asking you flat out, "Why did you adopt?" When the child's sitting right there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
People can be very insensitive, and for some reason, when they see an adoptive family, they treat you like they have no filter, and they treat you like you should expect that they'd have no filter. But then it's that much worse when you choose to share your life with other people. And this is not to say anything regarding the contents of their channel, the vision of their channel versus the contents and vision of ours. We're just saying in general that when you live your life in the public eye, you have to be willing to take criticism. But there is a certain level of commenting that has gone beyond criticism, and it is just pure hate.
Right.
So we have received those things. We have no issue immediately blocking those people. We're not here to have conversations with people who threaten or make sexual comments about a child. Ugh. Or anything of that nature. We immediately report those things, and we have no ear to hear them. We shouldn't have to. Being, again, very real things we've never shared before, but we've received the full gamut of evil comments related to our children.
All of our family. Mike, me, all the kids.
Yeah. So if you've ever, if at very various times in the life of our channel you've ever felt Melanie seem disconnected from the camera, it may have been that we were going through a difficult time where we had read some things or felt under attack, and we wanted to persist on, but it was especially tough for her at times to feel positive about our mission here.
Yep. It's a real gut check when you feel persistently attacked by a very small minority,
and that's the thing.
It's such a small minority.
It is, but
the comments just pierce you like arrows.
They stick with you too, and we try to practice listening more, letting the positive comments speak louder. But there's just some days that it's hard to forget. It's hard to block out some of the things you read, and they attack your character. They attack your
motives,
person, your motives.
I'm thinking of one right now.
Would be inappropriate.
That literally attack our whole family and our core value.
Yeah.
And that's just... that's just unacceptable.
We've been accused of everything at this point. I can't think of anything we haven't been accused of, Zoo family. So that's the reality. Yes, we've received racial comments. And so far beyond that, it's sick. And this is not something we talk about because it really doesn't have a place here, because we're not here to spread negativity and complain and,
But since there was a question, and we've never answered it. And, this is kind of like the gorilla behind the camera of like what, you like, to me, like having someone into my home is a privilege.
Yeah.
And I take that very seriously, and I guard myself around people that I feel like are snakes. And so with YouTube, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's like all or nothing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I'll be straight up real. Like I've thought many times in the last, how many years have we been doing this? This worth it? Because it's a persistent thing.
Yeah, because you're a good mom. You want to protect your kids, and there are very many times that we have to say, man, can we keep circling the wagons and protecting our kids while being YouTubers? Right. And we constantly talk about it. We do. Yeah. So yeah, and there was a side question we got. Would you ever stop YouTubing if you thought your family outgrew it, or the time was right, or it was becoming detrimental to your family? And I actually responded to the person. I didn't even wait to the video. I said, absolutely.
Right.
So a very similar question that we've also received about Katie is spurred on by everything happening in America right now. We've been asked quite a few times, has Katie ever experienced racial discrimination essentially in school would be the place.
Right.
They go to a very diverse school.
Yep.
We have an incredibly diverse school district. More than
Yep.
100 languages spoken. The staff at the school is highly diverse. So she probably doesn't see it. We have asked her explicitly if she's ever felt left out, and we didn't introduce race as
Right.
a means by which she should look to be seeing if she should feel left out.
Right.
We just asked her, have you ever felt left out or made fun of, I said.
Right.
And she said, no, Dad, never. And I'm like, okay, good. So we ask her every once in a while. And that happened when she first went into public school because her English was decent, really decent, but not to the point that
It was fluent.
Right. We were a little worried. Kids can be kids.
Brutal.
Kids can
They
be brutal.
can.
Kids just they don't have a filter. But she's told us many times she's never felt that way. And we received a question about, when or how would we introduce these topics to our kids. The answer would be individually.
And when their maturity level.
Yeah, when they
doesn't mean like every 9-year-old gets the same no. It depends on if they're noticing, if they're
or if they're old enough to understand.
Right.
Each of them.
Yep.
Caleb's at that age. He can have those conversations.
Yep.
Katie is she's younger than him.
Yeah.
But she's not as mature as him. She's still learning a lot, and in many ways she's still adjusting to American society and the norms of how we speak, our colloquialisms. In that, she can still understand brown skin versus white skin.
Right.
And
she's really proud of being brown
She's
skin.
really, she absolutely is. Yeah. She loves her
That's
heritage.
what she says. I'm not saying, oh, she's brown skin. No, I'm saying this is what she says.
Yeah. She calls her skin brown.
Yep.
And is fine with it. And it's just matter of fact. So she's beautifully naive. She's in that place where she's a child, and we don't want to burst that bubble any sooner than we have to, quite honestly. But we do know.
With any of our children.
With any of our children, right?
Yeah.
But we do know that for her, that time is coming where we'll have to introduce the idea of racism. And that is not a conversation we're looking forward to. We have had conversations about how we would do that.
Yeah.
And we believe that the best thing you can do is teach an ethic to your child.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Teach the ethic, and then let that ethic define how they see things.
Right,
because if
absolutely.
we tell them there's a problem, and we start by explaining what the problem is, then their first question is going to be, well, how do I combat the problem? Mm-hmm. Not that those aren't questions we have to answer, but we'd rather teach them an ethic that is powerful enough that it shapes how they view themselves, how they view others. And for us as Christians, that's the Imago Dei. Mm-hmm. It's regular in our vocabulary. Imago Dei. It means the image of God. And it's referring to Genesis 1:27, where God makes mankind. And he makes mankind in his own image. We are the image of God. We're made in his image. We're designed in his image. He blessed us with the likeness of himself. And that crosses every racial line. Mm-hmm. We are all created in the image of God. And that type of ethic, that type of source for your ethic, makes you see people as little images of the Creator. And because they carry the image of that Creator, they begin to see people as deserving of dignity, deserving of respect and honor.
And the same value.
And equal value.
Equal value across the board.
Yes. That sets up the conversation to say, okay, honey, now there are people who don't believe in this. There are people who don't believe in this ethic. Some people have a deep-seated hatred toward one kind of person. And maybe that's because of color. But we would be able to have those conversations in light of an ethic.
Right.
And therefore, the obvious solution to the problem is, oh, well, Dad, we got to teach people this ethic then, don't we? And that's what we're doing now. Yep.
Yes.
we're maybe this is new language to you, but maybe you can think about what it means that we're created in the image of the same God, and that puts people on an even playing field, yep. ethically speaking. Like, we should love one another, see equal value in one another. And this brings us to our next topic. We received so many questions about the phrase Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
And they were all worded differently. And
yes.
this is a racially charged, we just went into the deep part of the pool. We are swimming without floaties now, my love. The questions we received were all over the board. Over the board. They were all phrased differently. So we really won't introduce a question here. But it's more of like a proposition. Black Lives Matter. There's the proposition. And we're supposed to respond to the proposition. So how do we respond to the phrase Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter has begun to mean different things to different people. And I'm going to speak like a nerd for a second, like a PhD student, a typical PhD student. I want to have a talk about meaning. What do words mean?
Absolutely.
Because I think the reason people say the term and immediately can't have an intelligible conversation with each other is because the phrase has lost its meaning.
Yep.
And we do live in a culture where any phrase, once it becomes popular, immediately loses its meaning.
Yes.
Because people are speaking different languages.
Mm-hmm.
One person says, Black Lives Matter. Another person hears it a certain way. As if someone was saying, white lives don't matter. And when, listen, I got to tell you, when I hear the phrase Black Lives Matter, my mind immediately goes to thinking about a little boy, my Caleb's age, in middle America. And really doesn't matter what his socioeconomic stance is.
Right.
It really doesn't matter if he's the richest or the poorest kid. It really doesn't matter if he's the lightest brown or the darkest brown. It really doesn't matter if his mother is white and his dad is black. If he is a person who is saying those words, and to him those words mean in his mind that his life has dignity, then amen, it does. Now, I can't go beyond that and say anything about how any political party, because both sides use that phrase to mean something.
Yep.
And everybody in the middle uses that phrase to mean something. And some people use that phrase for sordid gain. Mm-hmm. And some people use it as a means of furthering racism. And for some people, it is a political term. For some people, it is an activist term. For some people, it is a cry of a continuing cry of the civil rights movement. For some people, it is just a stance. It is just them saying, I don't feel like my life has value. That breaks my heart. And I don't know how any person could imagine any other person feeling their life doesn't have value and that not touch you in some way. Mm-hmm. America, people out there, this is probably an hour-long video by now, and maybe no one even got this far into it. But we can't let our words, we can't let our own communication styles become stumbling blocks to trying to hear what people are actually saying.
Right.
Because I don't know if anyone can hear anyone right now. And that's what's so dangerous about everything that's happening. I don't know that anyone's hearing anybody. I don't know that conversations are happening. I don't know because I can't see. We're just here in this little space here in our house, and we're praying that people are talking. We're praying that gospel conversations are happening. We're praying that God is bringing healing to hurting hearts. Yeah. We're praying that people everywhere are seeing that they are created in the image of God, that they deserve value. We're praying that people with prejudice in their hearts are feeling the pressure to repent and turn from wickedness. But we're also praying to no end that our American way of coming up with one-liners and rhetorical devices that actually put distance between us can instead be replaced with honest conversation at coffee houses and on our front porches. Talking to your neighbor when you're walking down the street. Stop and talk to them and have an honest conversation. Ask their opinion. Listen twice as much as you speak. We always tell our kids, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. So hush and listen to wisdom and learn. Listen to what the Word would tell us. Listen to what I try to think. What would Jesus himself tell us? He'd be able to come to every single one of us and tell us where we have allowed some hate to exist in our own hearts.
Or we just sat by and did nothing.
Or we were idle, right? And we became accessories to injustice. Man, I don't know if this video will be helpful to anyone. But we covered a lot of topics, and when we said we want to do an honest Q&A with you about a number of topics, we meant it. And we hope we did justice to the conversation, because this is meant to be that. It's a conversation. It's a dialogue starter. We don't want to speak in short rhetorical devices and phrases meant to communicate what we think they communicate.
Right.
We don't want to settle for that, because that's not enough. It's going to take way more communication, way more leveling, eye-to-eye communication, and honest listening and honest communication from all colors, from all political parties, from all denominations of Christianity, from all religions. This is a national issue we have to deal with as a nation, rather than allowing ourselves to crumble. So take that for what it's worth. And we love you, Zoo family. And if you made it through this video, you deserve a heart for watching this much. So please let us know that you watched the whole video. And we want to come and heart your comment because you deserve it. You are a trooper. So thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed the lighthearted start. We hope you appreciate this honest dialogue. And we want to hear what you have to say. And we want you to feel that this is a safe place to share your honest feelings, even if you differ with us. That's the thing. We don't want our comment section to be a place where any person gets shut down because they differ on any of this. Might I try to change your opinion? Maybe. But that's what communication is. Like, that's what rhetoric is. We're trying to persuade each other, and hopefully we can do that in a way that honors each other as created in the same image of the same God, equally deserving of credit for our intellect and grace. Oh yeah, thank you for saying that. Grace and mercy abounding, and respect of each other's point of view, because we can't walk in each other's shoes, but we can talk and see where we get. Please join us in praying for the nation of the United States of America, and for people around the world, because we're not the only country that deals with this issue. We are a melting pot, many people living in one place, so we feel it maybe in a way that's unique. But prejudice exists in a myriad of ways across the world. So we ask that maybe we just take this time not only to pray for the United States of America, but for the world in general, and find that time this weekend and join us in that way. We love you, and we'll see you next week.